We're here at the first summit, trash summit, after we put the task force together to clean up Louisiana. So I'm really excited to visit with all the partners as we enact the plan we put together, presented to the governor to clean up Louisiana.
We're Keep Louisiana Beautiful. We're the state's largest nonprofit, and we serve communities. Our task is to provide education, programming, funding, and support so that people can address litter problems in their communities.
The university program is new to Keep Louisiana Beautiful. We've been working on the program for a number of years, and it really was solidified when Keep Louisiana Beautiful, along with UL Lafayette, received a EPA Trash-Free Waters grant that really put the program into motion. We worked with a steering committee from 6 universities, and the first year we brought on 7 universities the first year. We're welcoming in 3 more universities for this fall, so it's very exciting. Louisiana is one of only 2 states that have university affiliates. Louisiana has 7 and California has 2, so we're super excited about the program.
Now we will go ahead and recognize the 2022 university class affiliates. We have mentioned them quite a few times today, but I want you to know that this wasn't just something they signed up for. They worked with CABL for the better part of last year through the onboarding process. They did waste audits on campus, litter surveys, training, meetings, and as you see that they adopted the name in their logo, participated in Love the Boot activities on campus. So it was a journey, and it was an exciting one. And so now, when I call your name, if you would please come up and receive a certificate of appreciation from Dr. Henderson and from Cabell Mouton. Grambling University. Nicholls State University. University of New Orleans. Louisiana State University. And Xavier University. Helena couldn't be here with us today, but all the same, we want to honor Xavier University. Tulane University. Please. University of Louisiana at Lafayette.
I think what the most positive aspect of this is that it required us to take a closer look at the university, at the amount of litter we have on campus, at the places where we needed to add more recycling bins or trash receptacles. So it did allow us to take a better look at our operations and the way we are collecting trash and disposing of it.
I think the number one thing that we've benefited from in being a university affiliate is bringing back a sense of community. So a lot of people being off campus, being isolated, actually speaking to some of our students, they said their number one thing that they felt like they had lost was a sense of community. And this is something that regardless of what college, department, or discipline you're involved in, there's something for everybody. And so for me, I think the number one benefit we had in the last year is helping us rebuild community on campus.
Well, the students have provided a lot of volunteerism. They have come together with organizations, faculty, and staff, and they have encouraged our community leaders to keeping the city and the campus clean.
Right now, the results that I've seen are sort of a two-stream process. The first being just attention brought to the problem of litter and litter abatement, where the source points of litter are. And then the second part is the involvement of students and faculty and the community.
The Keep Louisiana Beautiful University affiliate has been a wonderful thing for Nicholls State University because it's got us to collaborate on campus and then also to learn so much from the other universities here in the state.
It's been really a way of us discovering everything that's going on campus. We are a large university, so sometimes there are silos. And so we were able to discover things like our vet med students were collecting things and exchanging them for park benches. We had groups who were holding cleanups that we weren't aware of. So just gathering all that information together to know that everybody on campus is doing a small part, and we needed to pull all these groups together.
I think one of the most compelling things is the fact that we really are not starting from scratch, and we are really not alone. Keep Louisiana Beautiful has put together a large series of best practices where it's almost a plug-and-play model. So instead of having to call a meeting and ask people to help me put together things from scratch, I can bring something in and say, look, they've already given us, pre-made flyers, and they've given us best practices, and I can also contact the other affiliates and ask them for advice. And that really makes it much easier and more approachable for universities without having to put out a lot of resources. They get a lot of benefit from this program, and so I really found it to be very easy to implement at our university.
Well, the students have provided a lot of volunteerism. They have come together with organizations, faculty, and staff, and they have encouraged our community leaders to keeping the city and the campus clean.
Yes, UL Lafayette can absolutely be a role model in sustainability, primarily because it's the place to practice. As many research universities approach problems, they think of what they're doing as a safe place, as a lab, and we take that and then apply it to the community at large, and then move on to the state.
We had to conduct a waste audit and a litter survey as part of the Louisiana Beautiful Affiliation program. And just prepping for those two activities was a learning process. I discovered we have 186 trash cans outside on campus, but only 8 outdoor recycle bins. And then we did the waste audit and we looked at the trash cans and discovered we have far too many recyclables in the waste stream.
What we hope it means is an understanding of our place in the larger world, an understanding of our dependence on nature for everything that we have, and that we really need to, especially as we move forward, just take care of what we've been given by God and be good stewards.
Results have been amazing. Our first year, the goal was to bring on 3 universities, and we had 7. We have universities working in the area doing waste audits, students for the first time ever understanding waste audits, understanding ArcGIS, Litter-Free Louisiana app. We developed it at a UL Lafayette. We're working on some videos. Very exciting.
So today is the largest gathering of its type in Louisiana. We are here to learn, share, and network with people from 9 different states. We have 8 state agencies. We have 54 local governments, 34 parishes, 95 companies, and other organizations. And we're all here because we want to clean up Louisiana and we care about our communities. So I want to go over some impact numbers with y'all. So every year we like to do a little bit of bragging, and this is the collective impact that we have with our affiliate network and our state agency. And so last year we engaged 31,000 volunteers at a value of $2.8 million. We had over 250,000 participants, engagement with 1,500 schools and businesses and organizations, 990 cleanups, removed 543 tons of litter, and 206 tons were recycled, planted over 1,100 trees, and maintained and planted 2,800 gardens. A huge thanks to all of our affiliates out here. It is this collective work that we are making a difference in Louisiana. Another area of great growth for our organization was with our university affiliates. I am pleased to present to y'all these 7 new universities affiliates into our network. This has been one of the most exciting programs that we have been involved with, and it marks actually Louisiana leading the way in something. And so we now are only the one of only 2 states in the country that has a collegiate program, and we are the largest with 7. So California is the only other one in the country, and they only have 2. So, yes. And then we are happy to be onboarding Loyola, as well as University of Louisiana in Monroe, as well as Northwestern. So they will be our second class. You'll hear more about them later today. One of the neat things that came about this, bringing this group together that we didn't realize, is that they really didn't have a way that these universities were communicating and talking amongst each other, sharing sustainability programs and ideas and practices. And so we thought that this was a wonderful opportunity for Keep Louisiana Beautiful to step in and to facilitate that process. So we started the University Sustainability Coalition, and that involves 15 universities, and we have met 8 different times over the years, and a different university will present each time on different sustainability programs and projects that they are doing, and that could be anywhere from dining practices to reduce plastic use, to composting, to move out day in the dorms, those types of things. So it's really been a great opportunity for them. So we continue to grow, and again, it's all about partnerships. We partnered with ULL back 2 years ago when we applied for an EPA grant, and we were awarded a $500,000 EPA grant, and that has allowed us to fund this program and to provide grants to the universities, as well as training videos and our litter app. So we really are just thrilled with how that program has developed. Thank you, Melissa. You see, I need her. So again, want to acknowledge to all of our affiliates throughout the state of Louisiana. Y'all are all here today, and again, y'all are the boots on the ground. Y'all make things happen. As I said, we're only 4 full-time employees, but our role is to provide support and training and resources to communities all throughout the state so that the change is going to happen at the local level. And so we want to thank our affiliate partners, and then we're also thrilled to have the city of Baker, Central Louisiana, up in Rapides Parish, their Chamber of Commerce, as well as Keep Quarter Clean, the French Quarter Management District, the Kiwanis of Algiers, and the city of Pineville. They are all coming on this year as new affiliates, so we're glad to have them to join our family. And then our other growth, as y'all are all familiar with, was our Love the Boot. It exceeded all expectations. I feel like we've been talking about this Love the Boot week for a while, and we actually delivered it this year. So 280 cleanups over the course of the 1 week, and we involved 8,000 volunteers, and we picked up 293 tons of litter in just 1 week. So this is our state signature event. It's done in conjunction with the Great American Cleanup and Earth Day Week. So mark your calendars. If you weren't a part last year, join us April 17th through 23rd. And then another way for y'all to engage with us is become a member of Keep Louisiana Beautiful. We started a membership program, and this is for individuals and companies who want to support our mission work and be involved. You can find out more information in the back of the room where Jamie is. Raise your hand. You can join and become a member for as low as just $25 and help us out. And then we started a 4th Saturday pledge cleanup. It was actually the brainchild of the governor. He wanted to create something that we could all push out and engage folks in every month. So Love the Boot's great. It happens 1 week, but what we really want to do is have that plant the seeds so that people can start to get in the habit of cleaning up on a regular basis. And that's been quite a success as well. The other growth that we've experienced has really been in the heightened awareness and the engagement and the reach that we've had. Just in our website alone, it has grown by 92% in page views. Our impressions on social media has grown by 273%, and our overall following count up 28%. Last year, our earned media coverage came in at over $578,000. So we've been really pleased with that. Again, a lot of that goes and gives credit to Melissa and what a bang-up job she's doing. Another one of our great programs that we're proud of, last year we were able to award 30 grants to local communities, funding programs and campaigns totaling over $123,000. We run 4 different grants programs, and later tomorrow I'll be talking to y'all about 2 new grant programs that we're going to be rolling out, and we're going to be awarding close to $600,000 just this fiscal year. So y'all will want to know how you can apply and how you can benefit from those programs. So this gives you a big snapshot of our growth and our impact last year. But last year also, we were very involved in the litter abatement and beautification task force. It took up quite a bit of our time. As y'all know, the task force was by an executive order by the governor. The lieutenant governor served as the task force chair, and Keep Louisiana Beautiful supported by managing the task force. So I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into this now, highlight a few of the key initiatives, and then talk to you about some of the areas that Keep Louisiana Beautiful will be working on this upcoming year. Those of y'all who received a copy of the task force, I realize we probably didn't have enough copies for everyone, but please know that you can go on our website and download a copy and print out if you would like additional copies. And so the task force had 3 main charges. The first one was to build an understanding of the key drivers of litter and the barriers that it presents, to identify some solutions, and to establish shared goals and values. And so the task force was brought together. We had members throughout the state. These are the members. Many of y'all are here today. Thank you for coming. These folks volunteered their time over the course of 6 months. We met together as a group, and then we also met together as work groups. And so the task force was broken up into 4 different work groups. One focused on education, one on litter prevention and removal, one on enforcement, and the other on partnerships and engagement. And so together there were a number of 400 hours. The result was 8 recommendations and 47 key initiatives. It was an eye-opening experience, I have to say, for a lot of the members. You know, at surface, people do not realize how complicated the litter and illegal dumping problem really is. And it's not sometimes until you start peeling back the layers of the onion that you realize how difficult it is. And so we looked at other states and their best practices and plans. Y'all going to hear some from some other folks today. Pennsylvania was a great resource to us, and so y'all will hear from Shannon later today. Dr. Cecile Carson worked closely with this group and was a great national expert in providing insight, and she will be speaking to y'all a little bit later as well. And so we really took a dive deeper into say, you know, other states that are doing a much better job than we are, what is it that they're doing that we're not? And like I said, it comes back to really focusing on some of these recommendations. So again, I'm going to start with recommendation 1, and it's establishing fundamentals to sustain litter prevention and beautification efforts. And what does that really mean? So we looked and said, you know, we really don't have the structure the policies, the procedures, and the funding that is there to support a litter-free Louisiana. And so we're going to start by creating a baseline of the litter conditions so that we can have the data and really understand the problem a little bit deeper so that we know the types of programs, perhaps the types of policies and laws that are needed to properly address that. We also acknowledge that there is not currently a comprehensive statewide litter plan and that there needs to be one. The other piece really was in accountability. How can we create accountability within local and state agencies to do a better job in maintaining their jurisdictions? And then the last one I want to highlight is how can we use technology to aid in the litter abatement. And so we often get calls from just everybody about anything. They're not sure who does what. When do we call Wildlife and Fisheries? When do we call DOTD? When do we call DEQ? When do we call Keep America Beautiful? Especially when it comes to enforcement and reporting. They don't know if they call their code enforcement, their sheriffs, etc. And so the idea here is that we will create a hub, an online portal that Keep Louisiana Beautiful will manage, and that will be kind of like a one-stop shop where people can go, they can report litter, they can go there and find programs and resources, events, volunteer, all of that. So we're hoping to make it easier for people to get the information that they need and to be plugged in. And so the things that Keep Louisiana Beautiful will be doing this year is that we're going to be overseeing the litter study. And so this year we'll be doing a cost of litter study. We'll do a visible litter study working with DOTD to break up the state into their 9 different regions where we will do test sites on interstates and state highways and U.S. highways. And then we're going to do a public perception study as well. And so that data is really going to help us along with the key initiatives and the recommendations to build that litter plan that we talked about that is so necessary. Helping with the resources, I had mentioned about the grants. Y'all going to learn more about that tomorrow afternoon, so I'm not going to spend much time on that. And then that portal that we just mentioned, we're going to be expanding our website to offer a more comprehensive place for people to go to get all information. Okay, and that brings us to recommendation 2, raising public awareness. This became a big topic of discussion. And so there'll be a statewide litter campaign, and Keep Louisiana Beautiful is going to head that charge under Let Louisiana Shine. And I'm not going to steal, I know the Lieutenant Governor is going to talk a little bit about that, and then we'll hear more about that later today with Red 6. We also, there was a lot of discussion about how we can all support that message. And so it was creating easy toolkits for others to be able to drop in their name, let Louisiana shine, let Shreveport shine, let, Calcasieu shine, and be able to help elevate that message and reinforce that message, especially in smaller communities where you might not have the tools and the resources available to do those things on your own. So we'll provide these toolkits and we'll send them out to all the communities, cities, and parishes. But we're also going to make this available for our business community because we want everyone to be elevating that message with one consistent slogan and voice. We're also going to be targeting motorists, and so we will be relaunching, we will be doing a motorist campaign. The relaunching of the hotline will be key to that. We'll be promoting the reporting hotline as well. And so those are the things that we're going to be doing under recommendation 2. And then that moves us to recommendation 3, which is building knowledge through training and education. And again, it was, it's very aware that a lot needs to be done, right? And it's not just our citizens that need to be educated more on the harmful effects of littering, whether that's clogging the the storm drains that lead to increased flooding. But it's also our elected officials and our administrators and our business leaders and our decision makers and stakeholders. We need to do a better job educating these individuals so that they can make informed decisions and they can prioritize the funding that is needed. And so there'll be a number of things that we do working with the Louisiana Municipal Association as well as the Police Jury Association to bring that additional training to those folks. We're also going to be working with the chambers throughout the state to create a green business program, again, to engage businesses and to educate them as well. It all comes back to we're all in this together, and it's not just something individuals can do and solve, although they have a big role in it. But we need businesses, we need our schools, we need our local and parish officials as well. We need everyone working together. One of the other things that we're going to be addressing is how we can better manage waste and reduce waste that's created at all of our outdoor events. And so we know we love our festivals, we love our parades, but we also know that it produces a lot of trash at the end of the day. And so we will be working with event organizers to create a best practice manual so that they can be addressing how they're going to manage this in their planning of it, so that it's not just an afterthought after we have all the litter and the boxes and the bags all over on the ground. And so y'all will be hearing over the next 2 days from the French Quarter Fest, and they have actually incorporated some sustainability and composting and recycling projects in some of their festivals. So we're going to learn from them what they're doing. Okay, next one. Youth education. So we all know that education is key, right? In getting to the next generation so we can break the cycle of neglect is going to be so important. So we actually passed a number of years ago, it's called Act 72, and it requires litter education to be taught in grades K through 5. But that's been a tough one, right, to actually get the schools to implement it. So we're going to be working with the school system to try to get them on board in a bigger way. We also have our education lesson plans, and so one of the first things that Michelle's going to be doing is updating those lesson plans and getting them aligned with the science standards as well as the social standards, so that we now have an updated tool for those schools to use, and going through the environmental educators as well. We also will be focusing on the non-formal educators. So think about your scouting groups, the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts, the 4-H groups. Lots of opportunities there as well. And so we'll be producing some activities and some lessons that will be targeting just those groups as well. And then, of course, with higher ed, we know that those are our next generation of leaders, right? Our environmental stewards, our change agents. We will continue to do the work that we're doing with our university affiliates and continue to expand that as well. And then there's a lot of work that we can be doing to reach young people at the point that they become drivers, because targeting motorists and roadside litter. And so we are working with the Office of Motor Vehicles, and we currently have 8 test questions on the state official driver's test. So we're updating those questions. We're also going to be producing a video and a teacher's guide that will be distributed to all of the driving academies in the state. And so young people, when they get their license and go through driver's ed, they will receive litter education at that point. And then they will be tested on it with the 8 questions as well. So that will help with the education piece. Part of our promotional piece with the 79 Office of Motor Vehicles, we will be providing materials, banners, and posters at the waiting room, because we all know we spend half of our life in the waiting room at the OMVs, so that we can, again, heighten the awareness and bring attention to the litter problem on our roadways. Some of the other things that we're going to be doing with our education, and this is a really exciting thing, is that we're going to be partnering with our libraries. And I think one of the greatest benefits of litter abatement and KLB being under the Lieutenant Governor's office now is the opportunities to partner with other departments that fall in his office, and state libraries is one of those. And so working through the state library system, it has opened up doors to the local libraries. And so we will be providing our lesson plan book to all the librarians. And then we have the Harry the Snakebird book. And if you haven't purchased your copy yet, over here to my right, the Louisiana Stormwater Coalition is selling these books. It is a true story about a bird that gets his beak tangled up in litter and is unable to eat, and how the children save him and then explore and find out why the water was so littered. And so it's a fabulous, it was written by Wendy, a local author in Baton Rouge, and illustrated by Paula, who is from Slidell. So a hometown book, get a copy of it. But every library will receive a copy of this book, as well as our lesson plans that will be cataloged, that can be checked out. And we will also provide a set for the librarian to use as a resource. So we will be working with them to incorporate this into their summer reading program, as well as their after-school programs and their special programs. So we're really excited about the opportunity to work with librarians. We've identified a list of about 15 books for young people to check out, as well as bookmarkers that we've distributed to all the librarians. So lots of opportunities there that we're excited about. And then we had the illegal dumping and enforcement efforts. And so, of course, there was a lot of work that was done in this area. They gathered information from all the different states on what their laws were, what their fine structures were. And it was identified that we wanted to do some work on creating consistent laws and fine structures across the local jurisdictions, that we needed to build a knowledge of base and best practices on how to successfully prosecute offenders. We needed to establish litter court systems throughout Louisiana, and we needed to restructure and relaunch and promote Louisiana's litter hotline. Those are just a few of the highlights. The Lieutenant Governor this year hired Rick Moore. Many of y'all remember Rick from his days at St. Tammany Parish. Rick is now the State Enforcement Director, and he is heading up these efforts. And so we are thrilled that Rick now, it's like his dream job, because now he's able to focus 40 hours a week on enforcement. And so he is traveling the state, establishing litter courts, and really working to bring some of these things to fruition. So thanks, Rick, for that. Our next recommendation is improving waste disposal practices and recycling opportunities. Y'all all know we have a long way to go when it comes to recycling. One of the good things, and I'm not going to go into this too much, but you know, we need to conduct a statewide waste recycling infrastructure assessment. I'm glad to say that that is currently being done. The Recycling Partnership has been in Louisiana for the last 6 months doing this, and y'all going to hear from them at the conference. And I think that that's going to be really eye-opening to see where our holes are and what needs to be done. We need to create, just like with our litter abatement, we need to create a strategic plan on how we can build the recycling infrastructure and improve participation and rates in Louisiana. So you'll learn more about that later in the conference. And then our 7th recommendation is in litter prevention and removal. And as y'all can imagine, that this took up quite a bit of our time. We need to improve the frequency, coordination, and efficiency of litter removal from state highways and roadways. At the conference, we have Secretary Wilson of DOTD joining us, and he's going to be talking to y'all about what his department does. And, you know, we all know that we need more cleanups on the highways. And whether that is through additional contracts or looking at the contracts to ensure that they are actually being done and those people are being held accountable, or perhaps purchasing and having additional equipment to help assist in the litter removal. Create a comprehensive adoption program. So DOTD right now is the state agency that is charged with that adoption program, and we really want to see that get kind of back off the ground, and to get more people to be adopting the highways. And then waterways. We all know that the litter on ground makes its way to the waterways, and then we experience, you know, tremendous flooding. So we're going to be working with Osprey. We have them talking later on at the conference, and with Wildlife and Fisheries to identify some highly littered waterways that we can install some collection devices so that we can remove that. And then we want to provide ways for citizens to feel empowered to pick up litter at any given time, not to have to wait for a community group to organize something. And so again, we'll be partnering with the libraries to create checkout supply loan libraries, and so we'll be purchasing grabbers and bags and safety vests and distributing them to all the local libraries that want to participate. And anyone using their library card can go to the library and check out supplies, do their own neighborhood cleanup, and then bring the supplies back. So this is to engage families, individuals. Think of like a Girl Scout leader who wants to do a cleanup at one of the meetings and can go and check out 10 grabbers and 10 safety vests for their Girl Scout group. So again, there's only so many cleanups we can plan, but we want to empower others to take charge and to be a part of that removal. And then the other part of this is the providing additional trash receptacles in public spaces. If you want people to do the right thing and not litter, then you need to give them a way to do that. And so we also realize that good, high-quality trash receptacles can be quite expensive. So we will be awarding close to $500,000 this year in trash receptacle grants. And again, I'll be speaking more about that tomorrow. And then our last recommendation is beautification and community appearance. And there were several things that came up in this, saying, wouldn't it be great if we had a state nursery where municipalities and parishes could get things from the state nursery to where it wouldn't be as inexpensive to landscape and to do beautiful entry points to their cities. One of the things that I'll be talking about tomorrow is a beautification grant that we will make available this year, and we'll be awarding close to $100,000 to provide trees and plants to beautify entry points to cities and high visibility areas. So you'll want to hear more about that later. And that, in a nutshell, but like I said, all throughout the next 2 days, y'all going to hear people dive deeper into these different recommendations and key priorities. It was a challenge. Cecile and I had probably 150 of them, and we had to pare those down and try to find the ones that, you know, get rid of the duplicates and kind of combine them and massage them a bit. And so I want to thank Cecile for all that hard work. It was a bear. It really was. But again, this isn't it wasn't a plan, that this was not to be a plan. It was to be a good first step, and I think it is a good first step. It brought a lot of awareness, attention to the area. The work must continue. The data we'll get from the study, along with this, along with additional funding, is really going to be key. And so with that, I would like to introduce our Lieutenant Governor, Billy Nungesser, who will be speaking with us today. Y'all all know and love the Lieutenant Governor. He has been a huge supporter of our organization for many, many years. Y'all remember him when he hosted legislative breakfasts for us. He hosted Leaders Against Litter. He did PSA spots for us, and that was all before litter abatement was even moved under his office. So now that litter abatement falls in the Office of Cultural Recreation and Tourism, it has just really been a game changer. The support that we receive from the Lieutenant Governor, it doesn't stop with just him. We receive support from his entire staff, and that is something that our organization has never had before. And so, Lieutenant Governor, thank you for that support. He travels our state every day, raising the awareness to the litter problem and bringing attention and demanding action and results. And we are thrilled to have you with us today. So y'all please help welcome Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser.
Thank you. Thank you, Susan. And since you covered everything in my speech, that's okay. I always got a lot to talk about. Thank you all for being here. Jennifer Van Rankin, thank you. We couldn't do it without the elected officials from all over the state. And she already introduced Rick Moore. And if you can get passionate about anything, Rick is passionate about trash and has done an incredible job. And thank each and every one of you. Many of you have been fighting this battle for many years, and it really finally, I can see light at the end of the tunnel, and I believe most of you can say the same thing. And it wouldn't have happened had the governor not stepped up and put this task force together to bring real attention to the problem. And like anything from the top down, it surely gives us the passion, the commitment from the leaders that we are finally going to clean up Louisiana. And because of that task force, Secretary Wilson, Commissioner Jay Darden, Dr. Chuck Brown, Secretary Jimmy LeBlanc, Don Pierce, Jack Montessay with Wildlife Fishery, Chip Klein with the Coastal, the sheriffs, the chambers, the district attorneys, the trucking, construction, environmental, tourism, and waste management all got involved and spent a lot of time discussing all the issues. And although we've got many still to fight, we have them in our sights and identifying and hearing so many great ideas from this team that we will tackle. And then I want to thank the legislators. You brought enough attention to the issue, and those breakfasts and lunches we hosted with legislators to let them know how important this was. It worked. We got an increase of $3.5 million this year to fight litter, and we're just getting started. You know, I thought Susan was kidding when she said she was bringing in a litter expert, but there really is someone that is an expert in litter. And to hear how bad it was in other states and what they did, and they stayed the course to finally places like Texas that have done an incredible job. It didn't happen overnight, but they stayed the course and really made a difference. And Susan and her staff, I got to thank you again. She is a small staff, but they do mighty things. And the grants, I've got a list of them that they give out for beautification, for trash cans, for supplies. And we're going to take that a step further. You know, I carried around with me to all the meetings that garbage can on an angle. And I'm glad somebody loves my idea. But, you know, You put something out there, and if it works, then you go with it. And when I was parish president of Plaquemines, I put 21 of those 23 of those garbage, 21 on Highway 23, on every road leading to Highway 23. And Highway 23 was horrible because everybody pulled out of every one of those marinas and threw their bags out the window. They blew out the boat, and our highway was filthy. Well, when we put those garbage cans out, within a matter of 6 months, 90% of the garbage was in or around those cans. Most people missed it. But everyone that worked for the parish had a roll of bags in their car and rubber bands. And they better not see a full can and not empty it. We were emptying them 3, 4, 5 times a week, but it kept that garbage off the highway. So we know it works. Rick's working on trying to get permission from the Department of Transportation. You know, you make that big circle to get on the interstate, and they got a wad. If we can put a few there and do a test market, because I believe 75% of the garbage on the interstate, which is in with the first quarter of a mile of getting on, because you don't want that stinky burger in your car, so you throw it out the window. So we're going to do some things with these cans and other things, but we also need to hear from you. We know all the things we've been doing for years. We got to up our game. I'll tell you, I wrote a letter to Walmart, hadn't heard back yet, and I said, listen, put the garbage cans back in the parking lot and empty them. Just last week, I eat a Cracker Barrel at least once a week, but I take a picture of those nice garbage cans, and they empty them a couple times a day. And if you ever go to Cracker Barrel, there is no garbage in the parking lot. So when you go into a strip mall, my wife, I embarrass her because I'm like, look, why you don't put a garbage can outside here? I'm going to come back if you put a garbage can. I want to see it in the parking lot. So we can do this. She talked about the education. That is very important. And I'll be meeting next week with the DARE officers in charge of the DARE program for the state. And it's important to talk about drugs in the school. And we're going to see if we can carve out some time when they meet with those kids to talk about litter. So one day we won't have to meet here and talk about litter. It'll be in our culture. Our kids will learn not to litter. I tell you, I might have been a little over excited. I spoke to some 8th graders up in Alexandria, and I said, I want you to go home, and if your parents litter, I want you to call me. And I had 2 mothers call my office and said, did you tell my son to call you if I litter? I said, yeah, maybe I did. Go. They love to get their parents in trouble. But listen, this is something we can do, we must do. Susan mentioned Rick Moore, what a great partner. And he set up the litter court in St. Tammany. And then they dropped it. And then we embarrassed him into putting it back. And we got to embarrass some people. I want to thank the mayor of Baton Rouge. Saw a big spread that she's initiated a whole cleanup Baton Rouge. Now, the mayor of New Orleans said it. She hadn't done it yet, but I'm going to work with her. But a quarter, I'm speaking to the quarter next Friday. They've got stickers out in pamphlets, don't trash the quarter. We've got a lot of work to do there too. But it gives me hope that so many people around the state that are doing great things, and seeing so many young people and the universities and the schools involved is really going to make a difference. And you know, our sheriffs around this state, when I took office and was told 7 state parks were going to have to close, I didn't have the money. I couldn't have kept them open without the sheriffs. What do we need to do to help? They'd come in and help us do the repairs we needed, fix the bathrooms, and at least kept them open till we could get some money to do some real repairs. So once again, the sheriffs of Louisiana have asked us. We're in. So we're going to have a new grant program. We don't want sheriffs taking money away from fighting crime for litter, but we want to give them the tools they need. So whether it's a van and a trailer or equipment or overtime, to put the work release people out on the highways picking up the trash. Rick's also working with some partnerships that were done in other states where a private contractor contracts with the state to clean up the highways using the work release people. Brings the cost down a lot and really gets it done in an effective manner. And whether we need to pick up trash 6 times for every time they cut the grass, And Susan's going to make sure this study we're doing identifies that. What is the right way to do it? Because we don't need the guys walking in front of tractors. We need them in a little cart zipping down the highway like they do in Florida. We need to do it in the most cost-effective way to get more bang for our buck. I also want to thank the team at Wildlife and Fishery, and Rick we are going to answer every call for the litter bug hotline. You can also go online. It's in all your material, but we need to get the word out. Report those people that are littering, and if you see a truck uncovered or stuff flying out, take a picture of the license plate and report it. Don't get in a wreck over it. I was taking some pictures hanging out the window. My wife was riding down the highway, a truck that was uncovered. And look, for the first month, I wrote those companies a letter and said, look, here's a picture of your truck. You got away with this one. Don't let me see it again. And once again, if we can embarrass people into doing the right thing, I think we can make a big difference. It's going to take all of us. It's not going to be overnight, but I tell you, just the fact that years ago you had 40, 50, 60 groups around the state picking up trash on Love the Moot Week, to know this past year over 300 of you and your communities got out, gives me hope. And that fourth Saturday, I get emails, calls every week about the family that cleaned up the same corner every fourth Saturday, but they're going to keep coming back until people don't litter. And it's kind of bad when you're out there cleaning up, somebody pulls up and throws something out the window. But it happens. I get that story all the time. But we're going to win this battle. You know, as we started this journey, we talked about when you invite family and friends over to your home for a party, you clean up. And as we come out of COVID and we open our doors back to the world, and we want to get back to those record-breaking numbers in tourism, it's time to clean up Louisiana. So the timing is perfect. We got the right team in you. Judd, it's great to see you here with Volunteer Louisiana. Let's give Judd and his team a round. You know, when I was down in Plaquemines Parish before I was parish president, rode out Katrina, rescued people. It was the volunteers from Volunteer Louisiana that first came to help in Plaquemines. And I tell you, from someone that whenever you flood and you're thinking about rebuilding and you get a little down, there's nothing like when volunteers show up to put their life on hold to come help others. And Judd and all the affiliates and his team, they stay the course out there helping people along the coast until everyone's back in their home. And so their partnership with Keep Louisiana Beautiful is going to be invaluable. Hopefully we'll have a time when all the volunteers will just be able to get out and help with cleaning up trash and not rebuilding homes. But just another example of Louisianans doing the right thing and getting out and helping. So I am encouraged. I am excited. And I'm here today just to say thank you to each and every one of you for your commitment to this. And before we go, I think I'm going to share a little bit of our ad campaign that's coming out. And I tell you, once again, I want to thank the governor and his team. It shows that we can work together across party lines for the greater good of Louisiana if we just put differences aside and work for the greater good, and this is a great example of it.
It's a little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. It's a little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. It's a little light of mine.
Louisiana, it's time to put the paradise
Back in our sportsman's paradise.
Visit letlouisianashine.org
To keep Louisiana beautiful.
Let it shine.
Thank y'all for having me today. Well, I've seen real progress. You know, last year, we had more than 300 groups all over the state clean up Louisiana. That's double or triple what we've ever seen cleaning up during Love the Boot Week. And we're seeing new initiatives. The mayor of Baton Rouge put out a new initiative to clean up Baton Rouge. We see the French Quarter has make the quarter clean. And we're seeing these groups all over the states working to clean up their communities. We're also partnering with the sheriffs. We're going to be giving out grants to all the sheriffs that need equipment to help them with the work release programs to clean up Louisiana. So we're seeing a lot of progress. We've got a lot of work to do, and it's something we're going to have to keep our foot on the gas to make sure everybody stays engaged until litter's not a problem in Louisiana anymore.
This year has been a banner year for us. It really has. For the first time, we have our governor and our lieutenant governor standing in unity, declaring cleaning up Louisiana a priority, and it's been a game changer. So with the governor taking the lead with the litter abatement task force, and then the lieutenant governor taking litter abatement under his office, he travels the state on a daily basis, really bringing attention, but also demanding action and results, and it's been a game changer.
The future for this program is limitless. We have several universities left in Louisiana to bring on. We want to spread it across the state, and the framework for the university affiliate program is replicable. We can do this in other states. It's amazing.
We have one country and one planet, and what we do with it matters. If we can all be cleaner and greener, we know that it makes for happier, healthier communities, more community pride that can bring people together in a time when so many people are trying to tear us apart. And so we think that it's not just the litter that we clean up, which has such a huge social impact, but it's also the change that we can be about for people in their everyday lives and for the cities across America, and that means everything to us.
It's something that needs to take place all year long, right? And we all have a role and a responsibility in it. So as individuals, we need to make sure that we never litter. And when we see litter, we pick it up. But there's a role for businesses. They need to make sure that they keep their parking bays clean and the fronts of their stores clean and their dumpsters covered. Our local government, our state government, they have roles and responsibilities as well with policies and with procedures, keeping their cities maintained, making sure that there's trash receptacles in public spaces. And so our schools, they have such great influence on our students, and young people need to learn that they are an important part of the community, and caring for it, caring for our environment is essential.
How can people get more information?
So they can go to our website, keeplouisianabeautiful.org.